In this video, we're going to see just how bad the NFT market is and if we've hit a bottom. Now, first thing we have to touch on is the ETH price. Now, at the moment, from the all-time highs, we are down around 80%, which is crazy when you kind of look at the all-time highs where we were at. We were sitting at around that sort of 4,500-ish mark, and now we're down quite low, almost at 1,000. Now, coming back and having a look at a snapshot of the OpenSea volume and some of that data on Dune, we can see here is we have gone from essentially 470 all the way down here. It is straight crazy. And when you look at that, sort of 20. So we're going 470 to 20. This drop, and this is the daily volume, is absolutely insane. It is crazy. Now, what I want to do is I want to dive deeper into this and kind of see what's happening on this week-to-week time frame, so you can have a look and get an idea of what's actually happening within the NFT space. Now, I'm jumping over and I'm using Nansen. Now, Nansen is a tool that I love to use. You can see here they've got some great snapshots. These are the trends and indicators. I've actually got a tutorial on how to use Nansen up here. There's also an affiliate link down below, so if you do use that and sign up, I do get a kickback, so please keep that in mind. So over on Nansen, this is the trends and indexes sort of section of the NFT market. Now, what we're going to do is have a look at the market size. So now this is the volume per week. Now, we were recently just looking at this down here. Now, what you can see is that we have had a crazy amount of volume. Now, this was the kind of September, this was the January, February, and this was the other deed. So we can see here that we've had a quite a drop off from it, but what I kind of want to show out is the fact that it's not that bad. Like, it's bad, but it's not that bad, because when we go back and have a look at the previous times we've had a lot of volume in the market, there has been a cool off in that kind of period. So when you have a look here, we have actually gone from these heights here, we've gone all the way down, and then it's gone back up, down and up. Now, I would debate that the other side wasn't necessarily a bull run because of people were liquidating a whole bunch of assets in preparation for it, but that is just something to kind of note, the fact that we've had these rips and dips before. But saying that, we weren't in a situation in the global economy where rates are going up, inflation's crazy, and also crypto dropping so low. Now, when we actually go and have a look at the users per week, this is where it starts to kind of really break down what's happening. And to kind of point this out, what I kind of want to talk to you is the fact that we have been going down here, but when we actually have a look at the users per week, you can see here that it has just been a down trend. So it doesn't look like we're going to be kind of popping out anytime soon. We could be in a bottom of sorts, but I think the trend is going to continue down. Now, the reason I say that is when we look at the users per hour, the idea is that over the past sort of 3 or 4 days, it's actually down, and you're going, we've had some of the lowest numbers that we've ever seen when it comes down to users per hour. Usually this is sitting between sort of 2 and 3, and the fact is we've had a bunch of clock-ins under that 500 users per hour, which just shows you people just aren't interested. People aren't here. People do not care about the space right now, and people are sitting on the sidelines, which is very kind of scary. But it's scary, but it almost gives you that clarity to kind of know what the market is actually doing. So when your bags are down and hurting, you're not just feeling like it's just an isolated incident. It's the fact that there are lots of other people that are doing the exact same thing, where it is kind of, there's just not much action happening. Now, I will kind of point out that the blue, which is this here, is the OpenSea sort of secondaries, and then you've got the minting, which is the yellow, but overall they're all kind of in a downwards trend, which shows that we may not have actually hit a bottom yet. We're going to need to see where this plays out for a little bit longer. Now, what we're going to touch on right now is the transactions per week. Now, these were the users that are on actually kind of doing the transactions, playing around, things like that. Now we want to touch on the transactions. Now, the transactions will show you just how much these people are actually doing to kind of give you an idea of what's actually happening in the market. Now, what you'll notice here is that we almost had some heights that rivaled the January, February. Now, this is crazy because the amounts of volume that are in the market is quite low, but the amount of transactions is quite high, which shows you that there are lots of people that are willing to kind of degen into things that, so you can see here, people are willing to kind of play around, but the volume, the amount of sort of cash that's flowing around within the system is quite lower. So what this shows me is the fact that people are degenning into these free mints, and we're getting a lot of that volume, like a lot of the transactions happening, but in terms of volume and then in terms of price, that isn't that high, that is quite low. So that kind of shows me that people are kind of risk averse. They're not putting a whole bunch of capital into the system, but they're still in the system playing around, which is, it's kind of a double-edged sword. It's good because it shows you that there is a core group of people that are in this for the long term. They're willing to play, willing to have a go, but it shows you that they're not willing to kind of bet the house. They're kind of with their pocket money, their side money. They're kind of left sort of pocket full of change type deal. That's the way that I'm kind of breaking this down. And it's not good news, is the fact that when you look at the transactions per hour, the same kind of deal as the previous chart is the fact that it's down. And the fact is, we're getting low transactions. The fact is, on OpenSea, for a period of time, we're kind of touching on like 500. Then even this period here, we're touching on 500 to 1,000. The thing that I'm kind of looking at here is the fact that we should be sitting between 2 to 3, 1.5 to 2.5 at a low. And the fact is, we're bringing in these crazy numbers right here. So what I want to touch on right now is the user activity, how many new users are coming in space, how many old users or like returning buyers are coming back in, and then also the wallet activity, things like that. Now, when I break this down on this chart, what you can see here is that the wallet activity, when it comes down to sort of buying and selling, we're sitting at numbers very similar to what the January was happening. So when you look at this chart, the user, like the wallet activity per week, it doesn't look bad. It doesn't look like a poor situation to be in. So it shows you that there are lots of people buying, there are lots of people selling, but they're just not high value, high ticket items, which means that it's coming down to these free mints, these degen plays, and some of those types of things. When we actually have a look at the buyers per day, we actually clocked in, when it comes down to returning buyers, an all-time high when it comes to what's been happening in the space, more than the January bull run, which shows you that people are either, there's more people coming back in to kind of play, but when they're coming back into play, these people can have multiple wallets, especially when it comes down to free mints. People then create 10, 20, 30 wallets. So this number will be inflated in a sense, but it shows you that people were actually kind of really ready to kick in, ready to go. So this blue line, this is the returning buyers. And then you can see the first time buyers, these are the red. Now what we did is we, for a bit of time, we were having a bit of a kind of resistance at that 10,000 per day, but at the moment we're coming to get some previous lows. Now this low here was that other big wick down, that other big crash down, and I'll bring that up for you right now. That was this period right here. So this period right here coincides with the fact that when we had the this little aspect right here, that's that. The fact is, less first-time buyers are coming into the market when Ethereum is crashing. So it shows you that there is a little bit less. And it seems like a very kind of easy comparison to make, but I like that there is this comparison to make, because if this is what the trends and the data and the charts are showing us, it shows us that we can be confident. So when ETH is dropping, you're going to have less first-time buyers, so it means step back, cool off, that's fine, kind of sit back and wait. People would be kind of feeling this and intuitively knowing this, but seeing the charts and having data back this up is a good thing when it comes down to this, because it shows you that you can actually kind of look at the chart and be like, okay, less people are coming in when ETH is dropping. Okay, that's fine. It shows you that people aren't necessarily flooding in. And you can see here, the same when it comes down to the returning buyers, people are just sitting back, watching, seeing what happens. Now, what I do want to point out is the fact that when you have a look at the buyers per day, especially in that sort of November period, quite low. We then had that big run up. We are hitting some lows here. If we do churn around when it comes to the sort of buyers per day, if we churn around at around this mark for a while, it's not necessarily a bad thing. It means that we're kind of loading up, springing up, ready to go. And this would kind of look something like, let me clear up the chart. kind of bounces around, then run it back up. That's what I could see happening. Now, we do need to have first-time buyers coming back into the market, but as you can see, there wasn't too many. So I would imagine that we first see this churn along and then climb back up. When we have a whole bunch of new buyers come in, then they will be ready to turn into returning buyers, and then we have that pump up. So the idea I'm kind of getting at is the fact that if we can see this indication and this signal, the fact we have a whole bunch of first-time buyers coming in, then we can kind of gauge that there may be a little bit more of a run when it comes down to people that are active within the space. But this is contingent on the market sentiment and people wanting to be in the NFT space. Now, what I'm kind of getting at with this is I think that when we have a look at these charts, you need to kind of take in mind that we do need to have these cool-off periods. You do need to have it come back. It is dire and it is bad when you're in this current situation, but for those of you that were around in like October, November, December, it felt like nothing was working. No mints were kind of selling out. There was like one or two that would do well, but overall, most things were just doing bad. Things weren't doing good. When you have a look at the users per hour, dropping off. When you have a look at the transactions per hour, dropping off. It shows that people are kind of bored with the space. But when people get bored in the space, what happens is you're then going to have a concentrated group that are here. And just throw some numbers around. If there are 20,000 people that are kind of active in the space, kind of using and working, what you're then going to get when you have a drop or a supply of 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 that is excited, that people want to get in, that is when we'll sort of see these catalysts and these kick off. So what I kind of want to get across here isn't the fact that you should be disheartened when it comes to the space. Don't go into every project. Don't try to get whitelist on everything. What you should do is, even if you don't have the capital to deploy, sit back and watch and see what is happening within the space, because there will be these big mints that you can enter raffles for, that you can enter in, and there will be these projects that you will kind of get some spots for that will end up becoming that big hot thing, and then you will do quite well. When you have a look, people missed out on things like Moonbirds. People missed out on some of these great projects that actually have had these crazy huge big exponential runs, and it was insane. One thing I want to point out, and granted I don't think we're going to have a run similar to this because of the numbers have already played out, but around this period of time you could have bought a mutant ape for around 3.5 or 4 ETH. This is what it was like. This is how crazy low it was. There will be some bargains that you will be able to snap up. They will be scary. You may think that it's over and it's dead. Then there will be something kind of pops in and it'll run up. There are blue chips that you will be able to get right now. Now, this isn't financial advice. You shouldn't be buying into projects that are highly speculative. This whole market is very speculative, but the idea is that a lot of people are sitting on the side looking and have a shopping list of what they can do. And when it comes down to the fiat value of these projects, you're getting some great discounts. So that is a market update of where things are, how things are going, and just to show you that even though it does feel very dire and very bad, the fact is, when it comes down to what's happened in the past, you need to have the downs to then have the ups, downs to then have the ups. So hopefully that was a little bit of hopium for you. Hopefully this kind of keeps you interested and engaged in some way, shape or form in the NFT space, because I feel like that is important when it comes down to what the space is. If you're active and engaged, you will find these big sort of things that will come up, and then eventually you will be that person that is holding on to that big crazy blue chip moonshot because you were able to get in on a raffle or make friends with the mod and kind of get a great spot on a great project. So hopefully you found value in this video. If you did, please consider hitting up that subscribe button, and while you're down there, also hit up the like button. As always, it's been a pleasure having you with me. I look forward to seeing you in the next one.